Hello YouTube friends, this is Purple Cookie 80 here with your daily Y&R. This one is going to be from yesterday, April 17th, 2012. I wasn't able to watch it yesterday at all, either on when it came on at normal time or on the web. I was extremely busy. I had a lot going on, and I want to give you guys my deepest apology because I completely forgot that I had a lot to do yesterday and I wouldn't be able to get it on for you in time. But that will happen from time to time, but not a lot. But I just, I had a lot going on. So I did make sure I watched it first thing this morning to give you guys the review, and then it'll kind of help you go into what's going to happen today. So, please forgive me. I'm sorry, guys. So it starts off with Billy. He's reading the magazine that came out, the Inquisitor or whatever it's called. He's on the phone with Phyllis, and he's telling her how did they get this story? This is the very thing I didn't want to happen. And she said, well, that's why we should have ran the story instead of that, and then it wouldn't have happened that way. He goes, well, I'm very upset, and the things that they're saying about my wife and saying that I was with a mistress and all that stuff, that's just not right. And then it goes to Victor and Genevieve, and she's in his office. Well, they arrive in his office, and they're talking, and she's like, the contract is there for her to write over beauty. The contract for her selling him Beauty of Nature is there, and he's happy about it. And they talk about it, and they talk about how Nikki's gonna feel about that, and how Nick is gonna feel about the Beauty of Nature, and Jack. And he said he's not the least bit concerned about Jack, and he's not worried about that. Ricky arrived at Restless Style, and he was like, hello editor, or hello chief, and she was like, don't talk to me, you know what you did was wrong, you did that, the story was run, and went off on their part. Jill and Nick are at the coffee house, and Jill is a little upset. Nick's trying to figure out why, and it has something to do with Newman getting this gala, some kind of gala sponsorship over them, and she's not too happy about that. Catherine and Abby are talking, and they're talking about Billy and all his bad relationships, and then Chloe walks in, and she's surprised that they're talking, and she was one of Billy's past relationships, so she's wondering if they're trying to say she's bad too. Billy and Chelsea talk, and he's coming to tell her the things that is some things being said in the tabloids, and it's of course going to make him look like a bad guy. And she goes, I must reassure you that I'm not worried about taking the baby away, and everything is going to be fine. You don't have to worry about me. It's your baby, just take care of the baby. And he tells her that he has her a room set up at the athletic club, and the driver is going to come pick her up, because she has to know that he's not going to let her stay at the house anymore now that the baby is gone. And she said that's fine. She understands that. Victoria's decorating for the party, and she's getting ready to leave, and Adam shows up, and he tells her what happened in Neymar with Chelsea and Victor. Victor started the whole thing. He didn't just meet Chelsea after, like he actually had that set up to where, Chelsea drugs Billy and all that, but it wasn't expected to go as far as it did. Genevieve and Victor, Jack and Nikki talk about last night, and how they have no regrets about anything, and he says he wants to know where do they go from there, like are they going to be in a relationship or what. He goes back to Billy and Chelsea, and he says, if you need anything, I'm here. And he says he thanked her for the baby, and she goes, quit thanking me, that's what I want to do now. I can be me. I don't have to have this big old belly carrying it around. And then Adam tells Victoria about everything, and she's like, well, why do you want me to know? Why are you telling me this? And he said, because I actually I actually, delivered that baby, and I think that you had the right to know what happened. I mean, it was wrong what he did, and you should know. And I just wanted you to know I feel better knowing, he was like, good deed one and is delivering the baby, and then good deed two is telling you, what happened with the baby. Uh, Victor and Jen continue to talk about beauty of nature, and she just wants to know what Nikki's gonna think and what the kids are gonna think. And he was like, "Don't worry about Nikki. I had this under control. Don't worry about Jack. I'm the least bit concerned." And blah blah. Um, Jack and Nikki talk about Victor and how what's gonna go on between her and Victor, and their relationship. And Nikki goes, "Well, you don't need to worry about that." And he's like, "Well, I just want to make sure." Goes back to, excuse me, Chloe and Abby and Catherine. They're talking about Billy and all the women and Chelsea, and they're saying that Chelsea, that she needs to be watched. If she'll do that, what? Just imagine what she do. So Chloe goes, "I used to be one of those women with him. So are you trying to say that I'm a bad person? I've changed, and I, come up to my mistakes, own up to my mistakes." And they say, "Oh no, we weren't talking about you. You lied and said Kane was the daddy, but it turned out to be Billy. But okay." That's Abby talking. So Catherine breaks up their whole little thing, and she said, well, she wants to discuss the gala with them because she doesn't want to be over it anymore. She's stepping down, so she's putting them in charge. And they look at each other, and so they start to come up with ideas. Chloe thinks about the fashion, Abby thinks about art, and they start to throw blows at each other about it, and they just start to disagree. And Catherine's like, "Oh gosh, what have I done? Why did I do this? I don't know why I'm setting myself up for this." No, they don't get along. Goes back to Nick and Jill at Newman, and she tells him like why she's upset, and how do they deserve to get the sponsorship when every year they get it. And she talks about his no name brand cosmetics line or whatever. So he calls his dad and tells him about Jill and her attitude about the whole thing. And he says that he's getting ready to go to the party, and Victor said he wasn't coming. But then again, he changed his mind, and he asked Jen, I call her Jen now for short, Genevieve, Jen, does she want to go to a party? And she said, yeah. So Victoria and Billy talk about Victor's plan, how Adam came by, and she said, well, you wouldn't be surprised that Victor planned the whole thing. And Victor was like, of course not. I mean, Billy was like, of course not. So they got to talking, and he said, that's how Victor was, and apparently we got this beautiful boy. We're about to enjoy him, and not even worry about all that. Nikki and Jack talk about being discreet in their little relationship, friendship, fling, whatever it is, and she says, well, we just gonna make sure we just go, but we're not gonna tell anybody we're together. We're just gonna be separate, act normal. And no, she doesn't even want to bring up Chelsea at this event. She just want to go and have a good time and enjoy her grandbaby and Jack's nephew. So Ricky and Phyllis go back and forth at the they go back and forth at Restless Style, and he's continuing to try to tell her he had nothing to do with it. He didn't do it. He wouldn't do that. Maybe it was somebody else. And Phyllis is telling him, no, it was you. They asked everybody else. Nobody else said they did it but you. So she fired him. Everybody arrives at the party, and they're holding the baby and gooing and guying. Jack shows up. Nikki and him give each other this look, and everybody's feeding into it, knowing that something's going on, but they're trying to deny it. Uh, Jen and Victor talk about the party. She really doesn't feel comfortable going, but he said, don't worry about anything. I got it under control. You'll be fine. We don't care about Jack and what Nikki got on. What they got going on, what they think. They're just gonna go. Victor just wants to go to tell everybody he's in beauty and nature and start chaos. So Chloe and Abby continue to go at it, and they finally, Abby says, well, I gotta go. I have to go to this I have to go see the baby. She said, Chloe, I'm sure you're not going to be there, right? And she said, well, Delia's gone with my mom on a play date, and I am going to drop by later. So Abby leaves, and Chloe and Catherine talk, and they go into people changing, and Catherine is still concerned about Chelsea. And she said, you changed, Chloe. And she said, yeah, I changed after I had someone in my life, but but Chelsea didn't have that person in her life. Like, who's going to help her change, you know? It goes back to Adam and Chelsea talking at the hospital. He came and told her he'll take her back to back to the athletic club because her driver never showed up. He asked her what she's gonna do from here, and she said first she's gonna go through the town and look at everything and enjoy herself since if she's not pregnant no more, and see what she can get into. Um, Nick and Abby arrive, and Billy gives a speech showing his appreciation and thanking everybody for coming and accepting the baby as it is. Phyllis and Bev are at the coffee house, and Phyllis is grilling her about where she got the information, and she's like, well, I'm a publicist, I don't do stuff like that, but she told her that it was a nurse. The nurse overheard everything, and she can give her the nurse's ID and everything. So Phyllis calls. I'm talking fast because my minutes are about to run out. Phyllis calls Ricky and tells him to meet her at the coffee house. He meets her there. She gives him like this, oh, I know it wasn't you. You can have your job back. And he's like, oh, what a way to apologize. And she said, okay, just take your stuff back and you're back on. And then Bev comes, and he was like, Bev said she bought it. You better be lucky she bought it, because you lucky she didn't ask me for the nurse's ID. And it was him that told Bev the story, but they just played it off. And then they kissed, and she said, you owe me big time. I really put jeopardy on this, and they kissed. Um, Let me see. Victor and Jen show up at the party. He tells everybody that he owns Beauty of Nature. Everybody looks weird and wild out. And uh, Victor and Nikki are going back and forth with words. She's like, this is not the place for that. Why would you come here and do that? And all of this. And, they start talking about romance. He said, well, he goes, well, are you and her a couple? And he's like, that's none of your business. And, well, he didn't say, are you and her a couple? She just was saying about Beauty of Nature and how they look a little cozy. And she's like, Victor, don't nobody care about you and your romantic relationship. They was just talking about their. She got to rubbing on Jack, Genevieve looking all weird, and then he looked weird too. And it kind of went off on their part. It says tomorrow Jack's gonna, Nick's gonna ask what's going on with the whole Beauty of Nature thing. How did he get it, and what were the stipulations of the contract, and so we'll see. But that's what happened. I'm sorry I had to go so fast, but they do cut me off, and I try to get everything in. I try not to leave anything out, and I try to say it to where you can get what I'm talking about or picture it in your mind. So again, I'm sorry you guys about yesterday. I just had some things come up, and I forgot to get back with you guys the day before to tell you about it. Like I said in the last one, the weather had gotten bad, and my minutes were running out, so I didn't want to overdo it and have to redo the whole video again. So you guys take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be back later in about 2 or 3 hours with the next Y and R review. So you guys have a great day. Thank you.